Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2013. So this product is really phenomenal and we hope you will be able to show you why over the next 30 to 40 minutes or so. So my name is Paul Ince. I'm a solutions architect for TSG and I'm joined today by two of our CRM specialists, Jonathan Whittle and Jordan Wheat. Now, sometimes webinars can be a bit impersonal, so I know you're dying to know what we all look like, and here we are. And just as a reminder, by the way, this is the webinar focused on existing users of Microsoft Dynamics CRM, so those who want to know what's in the latest version. If you're not familiar with Microsoft Dynamics CRM, if you're interested in switching to Dynamics from another CRM system, or if you're considering implementing a CRM system for the first time, then we're running another webinar. We have some slots available for next Mondays at 10 o'clock. Now, in terms of the agenda, Jonathan will start by going through some of the key areas that are new or significantly improved in Microsoft Dynamics 2013, and then Jordan will give you a demonstration of the product and those features. Now, Microsoft invests significantly in research and development, and I'm going to give you a view on the latest roadmap, including the forthcoming Spring 14 update. And of course, we'll round it all off with a Q&A session at the end. And before I pass over to Jonathan, just a couple of points of order on the technicalities of the webinar. So all microphones are muted to avoid background noise. So if you have a question, there is a question box in the control panel on the right of your screen. And I'll collate any questions during the webinar. And between us, we'll answer as many of these as we can at the end. Now I can see who poses which questions, so if we run out of time or if the question is very specific to you, then what we'll do is we'll follow it up after the webinar. So without further ado, I shall hand straight over to Jonathan.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Now, this is an exciting subject for me to cover today, as I believe this is the most significant release in the history of Dynamics CRM since version 1.0, just over 10 years ago now. With over 3.5 million users worldwide and as one of the fastest growing solutions in the market, CRM has been a real success for Microsoft and the cornerstone of the Dynamics family of business applications. In those 10 years, the CRM space has grown beyond recognition, with CRM now increasingly including collaboration, mobility and social media, and of course customers' expectations and the competition have also grown immeasurably in those 10 years too. With Dynamics CRM 2013, I believe we're really seeing the fruits of over 10 years of research and investment now. So with this release, Microsoft have really reshaped the CRM space, redefining the traditional CRM experience of rigid forms and tabs over a database by really redesigning the interface from the ground up to deliver a fluid user experience that users love. And an application users love is an application users will adopt, and key, an application that will ultimately drive results for the business. So in a crisp, uncluttered interface, CRM 2013 now allows you to view everything you need in almost one page. Fast, fluid and relevant to the work at hand. This makes the system efficient and intuitive and is a real industry game changer. The interface is flattened, so there are no more pop-up windows and no endless alt-tabbing from one window to the next. Everything can be displayed and managed in one dynamic screen, including multiple related records and multiple record types. There's a breadcrumb navigation trail throughout the system, so you can always jump back to a previous record you've viewed or worked on. Plus there are quick links throughout the system to your most frequent or most recently opened records. Inline editing allows records to be updated and modified without having to open them in a new window, so no more double-clicking or having stacks of windows open. And quick create forms allows new CRM records to be created without opening a new window. So for example, if a quick lead or inquiry can be captured and assigned onto a colleague without breaking the flow of your work. And inbuilt mapping now allows you to see the location of your customers and prospects from within their CRM record. So no more copying and pasting postcodes into a separate Google or Bing Maps window. Now the map is right there on the record. Talking about browsers, the experience is now the same from whichever browser you use, and that includes Chrome, Firefox, and even now Safari on the Mac. So helping you support mixed IT environments and the era of users bringing their own devices into the workplace. The new user experience also supports the latest touch-enabled devices, to deliver a seamless experience on any device under Microsoft's One Experience, Many Devices concept. And again, you'll see this demonstrated by Jordan in a few minutes. Another key area of development in this release is a whole new business process and business rules section. Business processes are easily configurable, guided processes which steer users through to outcomes such as a customer onboarded or from being assigned a sales lead through to an order received. These allow for easy automation of business processes, keeping users flowing through the system and helping encourage and enforce correct business practices. With a library of key sales, marketing and services processes included as templates, processes can be easily created and updated to flex with your business. Processes can in fact span multiple record types and can be switched partway through, such as when, for example, a simple sales process might need to become a more complex sales process for a larger value opportunity if the opportunity grew throughout the sales cycle. Now, processes are configured and managed through a drag-and-drop user interface, so while they're a powerful set of functionality, no code is needed to set them up and use them. Now, business rules really work alongside business processes to help make forms more efficient by dynamically showing or hiding form sections depending on what users chose in preceding sections. And of course, rules can also be used to support data quality by ensuring that data meets the requirements of a field, such as validating phone numbers and email addresses are entered in the correct formats. Again, Jordan will be showing you how some of these processes and rules work in his demo shortly. Now, the final area of development in this release I want to focus on is mobility. Microsoft have really embraced mobility and made it central to the product in CRM 2013, with out-the-box support now for all the major mobility platforms, including Android, Windows Phone, iPad and iPhone. Now, the fact is, no matter how well designed and implemented a CRM system is, if it isn't available where and when users need it, adoption and usage will suffer, and adoption is absolutely key to whether a CRM project is ultimately successful or not. Now, of course, mobility means more than just PCs, smartphones and tablets nowadays. There's also a growing range of convertible devices which really sit somewhere between PCs and tablets. Convertibles allow the keyboard to either be folded back behind the screen or detached altogether, leaving the screen to operate as a tablet PC with full Windows PC capabilities. And in CRM 2013, touch-enabled PCs, tablets and convertibles are all well supported with the Windows 8 app for an all-touchscreen user interface mode. To round off my introduction, there are just a few final points I want to highlight. There's a significantly simplified licensing model from previous versions, with professional, basic and essential user license types, as well as the external connector license now included with the server license for on-premise deployments. The new license model is a real benefit to enable organizations to efficiently license CRM to all of their customer-facing staff, whether those staff need full system access or perhaps just basic lookup only or somewhere in between. For collaboration and communication, CRM is also now integrated with Skype and Yammer as well as with Link, as well as plus it can be connected to modern phone systems. 2013 now also benefits from a new product strategy, with major release or major updates released every 6 months in between major version updates. And later in this webinar, Paul will be showing you some details of the upcoming Spring 2014 release, which is bringing some exciting new developments and capabilities around social media analytics, advanced marketing and advanced service. Okay, with that, I'm sure you've heard enough from me and you're ready to see the product in action. So, Jordan, over to you for the demonstration.
Thanks, Jonathan. Morning all, and thank you once again for dialing in today's session. As Jonathan has just mentioned, in today's demonstration, which should take no longer than around 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how version 2013 has revolutionized the way that Microsoft Dynamics CRM works and operates for you, the customer. Throughout the demonstration, I'll be focusing on the core functionality that is now available at your disposal and as a Microsoft Dynamics CRM customer, as well as touching as areas that are commonly unutilized that we've recognized from customer to customer throughout the system. So, in front of you at the moment you can see the new Dynamics CRM 2013 interface, and I'm looking at my active accounts, and from versions 4 to 2011 you can see that things have changed quite considerably. At the moment in terms of the screen, I am accessing it through an Internet Explorer browser. However, as Jonathan touched upon earlier, this could now be through a Chrome interface, it could be through Firefox, or any of the common browsers like Safari. You'll notice one of the main differences with the navigation elements is that we have this striking navigation bar across the top, as opposed to down the left and across the top. So, as you can see, if I click on my Microsoft Dynamics CRM button here, and navigate through the different areas and the functions within the system, I then get what's known as the breadcrumb trail, which again gives me the ability to look at the different options and the different entities within the system without having to look at multiple windows and pop-ups. So I've got one refreshing screen, which makes it easier and simpler if I was using a touch optimized device, and ultimately I don't get multiple windows across the bottom. We can also see here, at the end of the breadcrumb trail, we've got a list of recently viewed. So if I am working on multiple records, I can see them listed across here without having to click through the different windows. The ribbon and the action button is now contextualized just below the navigation pane. So as you can see, if I want to create a command, if I wanted to copy a link of an account, run a report, or even run an advanced find query, all I do was look to the action ribbon and click through there. The tool that Jonathan mentioned and touched upon as the Quick Create, which is now makes it easier for users to log quick phone calls, email records, or even create a new account or contact record, as you can see, is across the top on the navigation bar. And as I click in, I then have the option to create an appointment, create a phone call, or an account record. So one of the areas that I did want to touch across was the chart and dashboard functionality. So I know this was available to those of you that are on CRM 2011, but we often find from customer to customer that it is an unutilized tool that is essentially the core reporting functionality within Microsoft Dynamics CRM. So as you can see here, I've got a list of my active accounts, and then I've got a dashboard here showing me all of them by a specific industry, which again, for some users, is really key information. If I then look at a particular industry, I can then see a breakdown of the new refresh that were within that industry, and then I can then drill down into that data and look at things like these customers by a certain city or location. So it just gives you full disclosure of the information that's in CRM and makes it easier from user to user to navigate through. In terms of navigation, that's the fundamental changes that have changed within Dynamics CRM 2013. And as you can see, Microsoft have made it a lot easier for the user by having one refreshing screen so users don't get confused. You now have the flexibility of multiple browsers. So if you do have internal colleagues that do have different browsers that they use day to day, these can now be used. It's touch optimized for tablet devices, and it's fitting in line with Windows 8 applications and also the new Office 2013. So that has rounded off as navigation. The next area that I'm looking to cover off with you guys is how the account forms have now changed. So if I go into one of my account forms now, you can see that in front of you we've got a lot cleaner interface in terms of the way information is stored. And central to the screen you can see a striking pane which is now using functionality called auto posts. Now auto posts can be used and defined depending on when a user updates a particular piece of information against an account. So if you've got multiple users looking at records, it might be your contracts department, it might be sales users, if there needs some collaboration on the record or updates as to when something's happened, you can define it here. So as you can see here, we can get a quick insight without having to delve into the record of when a customer case has been created, perhaps when an opportunity has been created, or even perhaps when an account's been moved from a certain status. We've also got in this pane here, without having to delve down the left as you normally would on the navigation pane in CRM 2011 and version 4, we now have the ability to access activities directly through the screen. So you can see here I've got a list of all the different activities that have recently taken place with the customer, but at the same time if I did want to delve even deeper across the top I can then go into activities from there. One of the areas that Jonathan touched upon was business rules. Now business rules have been introduced to make it simpler for the users where JavaScript perhaps was needed in other instances. So for example, if customers were wanting fields to pre-populate based on information that's already inputted into CRM, or if they wanted to hide fields or certain pieces of information just to make it user-friendly. So in this instance, if taking the account for forward thinking, if I was to change their relationship status to customer, you can see automatically it's populated the priority as high. One of the other things that's new to the forms is, as Jonathan mentioned, the Bing Maps integration. Now, as part of the subscription or as the license for CRM 2013, this is new and available to you as a customer. So if you can imagine in an account management scenario or users working with multiple accounts that need to plan journeys or look geographically where the customer is located prior to visiting, the Bing Maps tool can be used. It can also be extensified. Perhaps if you wanted an account management dashboard or a Bing Maps dashboard that showed you all of your accounts by a specific territory or location. Again, something that Microsoft have introduced and that you can use. Again, similar to the way that CRM 2011 works and version 4 worked, these forms are completely configurable. So the information can be chopped and changed depending on how you want to store the information. Just to give you an overview of how easy it is now to log phone calls and how quicker and efficient the forms are, if for example I wanted to log a customer call, I'd then hit OK and you can see it stored this information quick, which is a lot more efficient in the way that Microsoft previously used to work. So in summary, they've given you some tools that allow automation without the use of JavaScript through business rules. They've given you also a Bing Maps tool which allows you from an account management perspective to look where the customer is without having to flick between windows, the likes of Bing Maps where you previously would have done, or with Google Maps. The speed of logging activities is a lot simpler and a lot cleaner, and as a user I can come into an account record and view all the activity information straight off without having to dive further into the record. And also the forms are contextualized and made a lot simpler for those users who are using touch optimized devices, i.e. iPads or Windows Surface devices. The next area I'm going to touch upon, which Jonathan talked around, was business process. So if I'm going into one of my recent opportunities, which as customers of Dynamics CRM you should be aware of, we can see across the top we've got what's now known as the Business Process Flow tool, which is a quite striking tool which allows users to define certain processes for certain things. So as you can see, an opportunity is very much about a sales engagement, and we've got the different sales stages across here. So these are what's known as stages and steps. So at the start of an opportunity, if it's looking for perhaps some business consultancy that we're going to offer our customer, we can set milestones for new users or users using the system day to day. For example, you might want your sales users to think about purchase timeframes. You might want them to think about have they identified the purchase process, and have they identified a decision maker. Once areas have been ticked, you can then move to the next stage. What Microsoft also allows you to do is, especially for new users that are coming into the business, you can set fields as mandatory. So if users can't progress to a certain stage because a certain piece of information isn't filled in, it allows you to have full disclosure and full discrepancy of the data within CRM. As you can see, I can continue to move along the stages and then progressing the opportunity to further stages. We've also got the concept of the What's New pane, as I talked around earlier, auto posts and user posts. So if you have got multiple people that are working on records, it might be an opportunity, it might be a case. Users can now start to interact with the interface and make comments and view auto posts for when status updates have been paid on the opportunity, just so that users working day to day with the record have got full disclosure within the record that they're working in. So that was an example there of it working within the sales scenario. What I can now show you is how this business process flow tool can actually be used in a customer service scenario. So the business process flow tool isn't just for sales, it isn't just for service, it isn't just for marketing, it could be used for a number of different processes depending on what you might want to use it for. If I go into one of my recent cases for forward-thinking technology, we can then see, again, we've got the process flow tool. So in this scenario, as opposed to a sales opportunity, what we're looking at is identifying a customer's issue, researching perhaps the problem and asking internal colleagues for assistance, looking at similar cases, providing a resolution, and then resolving right through to the next stage and completing that so that a user has a guided interface as to what the next actions are with that particular project, case, opportunity, or whatever it might be. So for the next scenario, what I'm going to show you is how Microsoft Dynamics CRM has created mobility apps for those that are using iPads and Windows Surface devices. If I look to my Windows app here, you can see what we've got is an insight into some of the key information, such as open activities, open opportunities, and similar to the way that CRM is accessed through the web browser on your laptops, I can then go into records like companies. I can start to create activities, I can start to create notes. I can then call the customer directly from my Surface device, from my iPad, and I can delve into further information such as opportunities. Meaning that if you're out on the road, you've got this contextualized interface that allows you to view it user-friendly through an iPad. If I just go back into the previous records that I was working on as well, we've also got the dashboard functionality which I touched upon earlier. So for example, if I was as a sales user or a sales manager, I can then click into the dashboard itself and have a view of what my open opportunities are managed of and clicking into the records, just so that I'm on the fly. If I'm a user that doesn't use a laptop, I can use it on an enabled device. So what does this mean? It means that Microsoft are continuing to invest in mobility. Obviously, the vision is in the next 30 or 50 years, PCs and laptops will potentially be almost retired, and tablet devices will be an integral part of our day-to-day life, purely because most of us are out on the road, we're working from home, and we're needing access to data as quick and as soon as possible. The sales app, or the app that I've shown you today, is very much geared towards sales, but Microsoft are continuing to invest to create apps for service, to create apps for marketing, so that each pertinent user can have mobile apps for themselves. And whilst that was brief and short, I hope that gave you a quick insight into some of the new wins with 2013. It concludes the demonstration and gives you an insight into some of the developments and the enhancements that have been made from version 4 in 2011. And as I say, Microsoft have been investing billions in the development of Microsoft Dynamics CRM and the other Dynamics products. And the key areas that I think will help leverage your investment that's already been made in version 4 and version 2011 is the improved user efficiency for modern touch optimized devices and interfaces, and also improve productivity through the use of business process tools and business rules, so optimizing forms and making sure it's quicker and easier to store information.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. That's a great demo. It is quite a brief demo, of course, and there's lots more that you can see. One of the questions that we've had is about showing a further demo for some other areas, for example, marketing. What I'm going to do with that is just get in touch with you separately on that, because there's obviously quite a lot to show, and it's a very brief demo that we can give on a webinar. But it's a very valid question, and actually, if you stay tuned, I have got some specific marketing information coming right up. Okay, so that's the present and where we are now and what we've got for the immediate release of 2013. But what about the future? Well, I can tell you it's pretty rosy. Microsoft invests around $10 billion per year in R&D, and a significant part of that is actually within CRM itself. And I've also spent quite heavily on acquisitions, which form a large part of the future of CRM, as we see in a moment. So there's now a cycle of continuing development of the product. Gone are the days when you'd have to wait a few years for an upgrade. your CRM system like we saw with, say, version 3 to 4 and 4 to 2011, Microsoft are now committed to a twice yearly release cycle. And the way that they'll do that is that Microsoft Dynamics CRM Online will receive 2 updates per year, one in the spring, one in the autumn, whereas if you're an on-premise customer, it's just the autumn for you. Having said that, the forthcoming Spring 14 update will provide benefits for both online and on-premise deployments. Now, you may be thinking, I won't be able to keep up with all of these updates, but don't worry. At TSG, we will work with Microsoft to understand what's coming before it's released, and we're therefore able to advise you on an individual basis, which updates are right for you at a suitable time for your business so that there's minimal disruption. So what's actually in the Spring 14 update, which is what's around the corner? This is heading our way around June time. So the update centers around 3 key ideas: market smarter, sell effectively, and care everywhere. So your customer experience is really your brand here, and marketers today are pressured into generating customer insights, delivering impact, and they may need to be able to plan, execute, and accurately measure these end-to-end campaigns more easily than what they can do at the moment. So the Spring 14 update brings the power of what was the marketing pilot acquisition to the Dynamics family by introducing Microsoft Dynamics Marketing. And within this, you'll be able to create scalable, multi-channel campaigns which will allow you to make contact at the right time. Let's face it, marketing is about generating leads, so the targeting element here will really enable you to transform that marketing function into a real growth center for your business. Like it or not, your customers know more than ever before. Buying decisions are often made before you often get the chance to engage, so businesses need to adapt to this change in the customer journey. Social insights, and by that we mean understanding how your customer feels about your brand, can help you analyze sentiment and allow you to respond and personalize that customer interaction. Now, essentially, it's another channel for you to engage with your customers, and there's some great examples of this in the news recently with companies like Argos and O2 using social listening to turn around rather negative feeling customers. And it's another addition to the Microsoft Dynamics CRM family, which will be known as Microsoft Social Listening. Finally, in this world of multi-channel engagement, customers choose the channel on which they wish to engage, whether that's a social network, whether it's simple self-service, or even, dare I suggest, the actual telephone. The forthcoming unified service desk in the Spring 14 update will provide customers with those multi-channel touch points, including things like web chat and knowledge base, meaning that you can connect the right person at the right time with the right knowledge. Now, if you have a customer service team, then the unified service desk is definitely something that you will need to be looking at when the Spring 14 update is released to us. Now, I can't actually show you a live demo of this because it's not actually released yet, but just want to let you know really that we will schedule a specific webinar on these when they get released so that you can actually see that and we can sort of effectively touch and feel it. Now, a couple of additional points that you might find interesting. Microsoft Dynamics CRM Online customers with 10 or more users will receive Microsoft Social Listening free of charge. That's pro users, by the way. So you'll be able to get straight onto that sentiment analysis right away. Microsoft Dynamics Marketing and Microsoft Dynamics Social Listening will be available to on-premise customers, but they are a cloud-based service. We can talk to you about cloud readiness at your leisure. The other thing is that they are introducing a new enterprise level license which provides access to all of these. UK pricing still to be fully confirmed, but we're looking in the region, if you're an online customer, of about £127-28 per user per month. Okay, so very, very brief foresight into Spring 14 update there. But I would like to take some time now to answer some of the questions that have been posed during the webinar. So we've had quite a few juicy ones. Now, I'm sorry if we don't get to answer them all, but as I said in the introduction, where questions are specific to you, we will ensure that you get a follow-up through on a one-to-one basis. So, Just looking at the first question, I'm going to pose this one to Jordan actually. It relates to the configuration around the new mobile app. So could you maybe just explain to us what extra configuration is needed for that mobile application, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. And thank you for having submitted that question. Essentially, one of the things I did forget to mention in the demonstration is that to Microsoft Dynamics CRM users, that mobile app is completely free and it's downloadable from Windows stores. In terms of configuration, there isn't any. It's the same as downloading any other app from an app store, so anything all the way down to Angry Birds. And all you do is once that's downloaded and on your device, is simply point it with your CRM URL and then log in with your username and password. And then what you'll then get is, as you saw on my screen there, the dashboards, the leads, the opportunities, all of your data will dynamically pull through to that so that you can start to use that mobile interface.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. Next question is really around the connector. So I'll give this one to Jonathan. Is the connector for Microsoft Dynamics compatible with 2013?
Short answer, yes it is. For those of you who aren't aware, actually, the Connector for Dynamics is a free integration component developed by Microsoft which allows you to create sort of proper two-way integrations between CRM and any of the rest of the Dynamics ERP or financial management products such as Dynamics NAV, GP or AX. So with this, for example, you could have orders from CRM flowing through to your back office for fulfillment and invoicing in your ERP product. And the connector has been available for CRM 13 since launch.
Okay, thank you for that, Jonathan. Another question, I'll give this one to you as well, Jonathan. Any major changes to compatibility with either desktop or server products from CRM 2011? So I guess, for example, with Office or server.
Okay, good question. And of course, Dynamics CRM never exists in isolation. It works hand in hand with your existing Microsoft, server products, your Windows desktops, and your, your Office installations. So I think the key difference with CRM 2013 is you lose compatibility with Exchange 2003, Office 2003, or Windows XP. But of course, they're all end-of-life products. So otherwise, 2011 and CRM 2011 and CRM 2013 are compatible with Windows Server 2008 or 2012, pretty much all versions, SQL 2008, 2012, Windows 7, 8, and it works best really with the sort of latest versions of Office, so the user interface is most consistent.
Thank you, Jonathan. And of course, if you do have any XP machines, obviously what I should be saying is that do get in touch with your account manager at TSG, because we have a very active campaign at the moment to migrate as many people as possible from XP, as it's coming end of life within a week or so, I think. So do get in contact with somebody if you still have some XP machines. Next question is around code names, so I'll take this one because it's interesting. I've seen online references to Orion and Leo. What does this relate to? Well, these are essentially code names that Microsoft give to their releases. And when they're released, they're actually called things like Spring or Fall Update. So that Spring 14 update actually encompasses things like Leo, and something called Subra and Mira. Not something for anyone to worry about. The key thing is when it's released, it will be called something that makes sense. Next question relates to process flow. So Jordan, can you take this one? Could the new process flow be used in areas such as marketing to help manage campaign stages?
In short, absolutely. The process flow tool that we showed today, obviously I looked at scenarios for sales, opportunity management, case management, but if you can imagine, Microsoft have introduced this tool to be a guided user interface and to manage business processes through each individual area within the business. So with any requirement that you've got where there's a relatively linear process, or whether there's milestones that certain users need to hit, for example marketing or wave management, it might be the form of set planning tasks, send introductory email about a national event, then schedule follow-up calls. in short, the process flow can be used for any process within the system on different entities. So it's not just specific to sales and service. It is one of the really the quick tools that, or better tools that Microsoft introduced for CRM 2013.
Thank you, Jordan. And final question is, who do I talk to about getting this? This is my favourite question. Well, just hold on 1 second because I've actually got the details right here. Okay, so that's essentially it for the webinar. And I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us. Of course, we hope that this webinar has sparked an interest in the Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2013 update. But if it has, or if you've got a question that you'd like to ask directly, then the team will be more than happy to help you out. The details on how to go about that are on the screen here. So send us an email to info@tsg.com or give us a call on our number here, which is 0845 1111 888. That's 0845 1111 888. So with that, I'll say thank you very much and have a great day.